Okay.
From the 15th of the second month of 1443, ace of needles reversed, 6 of potions, and knight of candles. We all get held back somehow. The joy of the past can be part of the now. The approach still needs to last. So, impulsivity needs to take a bow. And I've given 2 lines to this last card, but what are your initial thoughts on the card and poem?
I picked up, in the case of there being several choices, always pick wisely.
I guess that's probably the 6 of potions here. We have these dead flowers, or something wrong with these flowers, but oh, it looks like the jar is almost like coming to life over there. But that's how like the strawberry pots are, right? The joy of the past can be part of the now. And the ace of needles, you know, because it's sometimes you're sitting there for minutes trying to thread something. Or you know, it's not as easy to thread a needle sometimes as people as when we set out. We all get held back somehow, but again, this ace doesn't have much character. You know, it's a needle, so you know it's the swords. You know, the potions is the cups, and you get that more with the potions because at least you're showing bottles or something. The knight of candles is the approach still needs to last. So impulsivity. Impulsivity needs to take a bow. So he's the wands. Because remember, like the princess of the wands in that deck is like that you have. It's just like diving into things. Just hardcore diving into things. And the rest of them kind of with it too. But at the end, the king is like just, you know, mastering that fire and lightning and just, you know, ahead of things. So I guess we can close these last few minutes unless you have something else to add related to those cards.
No.
So so which card do you want to start with? We're at the Tower, since it's a Tuesday.
Let's see, the Tower. Is that the fortune card?
No, that's not that was for Yule. So the fortune and the
universe
and the star isn't part of this. The Tower card, you have in Crowley's tarot card, you have the Yaldabaoth and you have Abraxas, and so you kind of have like the serpent and the dove. Choose ye well, and well, kind of you don't have to choose the left-hand path of going outward and the right-hand path of coming inward. It's really the same thing in a way. And usually you can't tell the difference between yoga and tantra in that way of thinking. But you have, you know, the rising of the kundalini and something coming in. But I thought you had the cards. So what's else on that card? I don't have that deck right on hand.
I've got the death card out, and I think
the death card, because I thought you had all 7.
Yeah, I've got rearranged here somehow.
So whichever order. So the
I'm
death
sorry.
card. So it's a
I'm
very
sorry.
active card. Oh, the tower. Okay, you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
So you do have the tower.
yeah.
Because remember that graphic that I did. I'm not sure when I released that video, but I had a chant that I related to the graphic. But yeah, the fire, like even
Yeah.
even the Book of Mormon talks about that there's going to be a big fire at the end of the world, and Crowley's like, well, I had the vision of fire at this particular day, and or was it night or whatever? Same thing, right? And like
This is
the new age, of course, the conquering child has been brought in by fire, and we're no longer in this very physical thing where some god has to come and do things for us physically. We can do things ourselves. And
this card. It actually reminds me of. It puts me in mind of my vision that I had. Um, the reason being the eye and the colors of it, because in a
well,
vision, I
one of
saw
the things that happens,
orangey
one of
color.
the things that happened with some of the tarot cards is they moved. They moved which letter. Like so, so they shifted over. Like the sheen used to be the full instead of the aleph in some decks.
There's
So
definitely
sheen
all.
is the letter of spirit. So, or the letter of the teeth. So that was like separate. So the
Mhm,
ein and the pei. So the tower card is now with the letter P, which is,
mhm,
in the old language is like, oh, my hands don't form a mouth too well, but you know what I mean. It's just a
mhm,
mouth. But you have the I. The I is the ein. So you have the one letter versus the other. But just like the world card, the universe card, which is one of the ones that we got for this one, it's like things are directed in towards there.
mhm,
And unlike the Rider-Waite Smith, it's not really talking about some conflict between the religions. And of course, the conflict between the thing was the ecclesiastical authority wasn't willing to accept the truths that were found in other religions, or willing to admit that the same truths were mostly shared. Because if you
mhm,
compare religions, sure, the names of the leaders and stuff can be a bit different, but they're almost completely the same. Um, Particularly when you're talking about groups within groups. Like the Muslims have less to argue about anything, really. They all agree on the same book. They believe revelation and inspiration. If it was really from Muhammad, that's really what you're. But they argue about politics after Muhammad died. Really, you don't argue about anything. You're divided in all these different groups because of politics. Well,
well,
I mean, I live in America, so I understand. Um,
right.
because people really don't know the difference except that label, whatever. It's like, are you kidding me? Republican, Democrat, you're Green Party, any of those other ones, they work for corporations first. They work for
Mhm,
foreign countries first. There's exceptions, but most of any of these parties are not. You know,
yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a way to cause divisions, is by saying Republican, Democrat, they're all on the same side. So
and
they
so
just
what
kind
we have our month card. Or wait. So we had death, but we didn't show death with the
of,
Thoth tarot. So we have time, a few minutes to share that.
yeah, I
So
like this.
I like how it's active.
Mhm,
It's not as clear to some people what it's about, but it's an active card. So death isn't the end. Um, or
there's like little fishies and like I said, it was like a little soul back there in the background and
yeah, there's like specters and stuff in that card. Um,
all
so
things.
something physical has to transmute. Some black alchemy has to come about. But you got to keep going. Um, and what are so Scorpio, you can think of us, isn't there, if you look, isn't there some like eagle, an eagle, a scorpion, a snake, and a fish?
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, you see that pathway in the other going towards the beyond.
Yeah.
Oh, I have less than a minute here, so whatever comes up with whatever. We have the princess and ace of discs left to talk about here, if you want to even flash these cards. The princesses, of
Princess.
course, are like the thrones. And yeah, that fur coat kind of extending like out into the environment kind of tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the completion of Earth, like pregnant with all the elements and you know, like the ultimate potential card, just like the 10 of disc would be the ultimate potential card. But here in the first third of December, we're looking at the 9 of swords.